Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Keep those questions and suggestions coming. I try to get to them as soon as I see them. One of the things I used to do a while back was make preset of the week videos. I used to review Fractal factory presets, third-party presets, and even my own presets. One of the requests that I got a year ago was to come up with a comprehensive Billy Gibbons preset. So I made a preset with 8 scenes, each for a different album. It's been downloaded over 600 times, that's not too bad. So I thought it was high time that I made a similar preset for the Tone Master Pro. I'll still bet that what most musicians think of when mentioning Billy Gibbons is his trusty 59 Les Paul Pearly Gates and a Marshall Super Lead 100 watt amp. The Les Paul was used on all ZZ Top albums, and the Marshall was used on their first 6 albums. Of course, he also played some Stratocaster and Telecaster on those albums, and a Fender Brownface amp and a Leslie rotating speaker were also used. Things really changed for ZZ Top and Gibbons' sound with 1983's Eliminator album. He started bringing more guitars, amps, and pedals into the studio. That album rose to the top of the charts and re-energized their career. With all that being said, there is simply no way to put together one preset that covers all aspects of Billy F. Gibbons' career. But maybe I can come up with something that covers a number of different albums. That's the challenge. Let's see what happens. If you'll remember in my last video about making your own presets, I said that you could use other presets as a starting point and then make changes to it so that you can call it your own. Fender has graciously provided us with a starting point for this new preset, factory preset number 82, Trace Ombres. So the first thing I'll do is save this to a new preset slot and call it Doug B's BFG. Then I'll clear the one foot switch assignment because I want to set up each foot switch as a tone from a ZZ Top album. And now it's gone. Now press save. If you take a look at factory preset number 12, Maximus Twin, you can see that the bottom 4 foot switches are all set up to do multiple tasks. Here, let me click on one just to show you. See the foot switch labeled greasy, has an on-off, a parameter change, and another parameter change. And that's all within one foot switch. This is similar to a scene on a fractal unit or a snapshot on a helix unit. I'm going to see if I can set up each of the 8 foot switches to recreate a specific tone from one song on each of the early ZZ Top albums. The thing that you have to remember is that at least for now, you won't be able to go directly from one foot switch to another foot switch to have it work right. When you turn on one of the foot switches, you have to turn it off by clicking it again before moving on to another foot switch. Otherwise, things will get messy. I'm hoping that Fender addresses this in an upcoming firmware update. Now let's quickly take a look at the blocks used in this preset. Going from left to right, we have the simple gate, the royal tone, the dynamic compressor, the rotary speaker 147, British 1, British 2, pedal detune, digital delay, and small hall reverb. I've set up my version of this preset so that all 8 foot switches are named after various ZZ Top albums, except for foot switch number 3, R.H. Leslie. The first 4 albums were recorded at Robin Hood Studios in Tyler, Texas, and I'm guessing that the Leslie used on those albums was from the studio, because I've never seen the Rev use a Leslie on stage. Now this is not meant to be the definitive BFG preset, but rather a preset that you can edit to your heart's content. I'll upload it to the cloud in case you want to try it out. The first thing that I noticed when I checked out the Trace Ombres preset was that someone at Fender knows their Billy Gibbons stuff. When you take a look at this preset, you see that it's using the Instrument Parallel 1 signal path. There are 2 Marshall amps set up exactly the same, but the amp on the bottom path has a pedal detune after it. But why? Well, let me tell you a little story. Back when ZZ Top was recording their first album, Bill Ham, their manager, said that there would be no overdubbing, that he wanted their album sound to be just like their live sound. Now, Billy Gibbons wanted something bigger, and if I remember right, the engineer at the studio, a guy named Robin Hood Bryans suggested that Billy detune his guitar by a few cents and double track his guitar parts. Then he could pan them left and right and make a really big sound. Billy was up for it, but they had to get Bill Ham out of the studio for a while so that they could do the double tracking. Robin Hood asked Bill Ham if he'd drive down to this one barbecue joint that was, just a few miles down the road and pick up some lunch. Thing of it is, that place was 35 miles down the road. That gave Billy Gibbons and Robin Hood the time to do some double tracking. When Bill Ham got back and heard the mix, he said something like, "That's it. That's how I want all the songs to sound." And, the rest is history, as they say. Now, I won't go over all the steps that I did to make this preset because it would take quite a while. But you can download it from the cloud and see how the foot switch assignments are set up. Okay, well, let's see how it sounds. Alright guys, when you first boot up this preset, it's ready for Brown Sugar off of ZZ Top's first album. Sounds something like this. The first foot switch on the bottom row is for Just Got Paid off of the Rio Grande Mud album. The second foot switch on the bottom row is for Jesus Just Left Chicago off the Tres Hombres album. The third foot switch on the bottom row is for the Robin Hood Studios Leslie that was used on Hot Blue and Righteous off of the Tres Hombres album. The fourth foot switch on the bottom row is for Heard It on the X off of the Fandango album. The first foot switch on the top row is used for Arrested for Driving While Blind off of the Tejas album. The second foot switch on the top row is used for Cheap Sunglasses off of the Degüello album. And this one is a lot harder than it looks. It uses hybrid picking, not power chords, so pardon my playing. The third foot switch on the top row is for Tube Snake Boogie off of El Loco. And the fourth foot switch on the top row is for Sharp Dressed Man off of Eliminator.
Now that was quite the challenge, but I think I came close. I uploaded it to the cloud and it's called Doug B's BFG. So give it a try and let me know what you think about it. Now I'm sure someone's going to say, that isn't right. Well, part of that problem is I don't have Billy Gibbons' hands, talents, or guitar. Not much I can do about that. But hey, feel free to go under the hood and see if you can tinker with it and get it to sound better. Let me know if you come up with something better. I'd love to hear it. Now, I'll have all new content coming up on Wednesday. You don't want to miss that. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and I'll be talking with you next week.